What's up, Trainiacs? I recently put something on Instagram about everyone seeing my daily training log and getting a weekly summary, and what came out of it was a whole bunch of requests to know what I eat day to day. Now, I've kind of done that before, but what I'm going to do now is give basically the exact step-by-step and the principles so that instead of it being like a day of eating, it is more a philosophy of eating. How I keep so attractive. Basically spend every day in gym clothes, but they're good looking gym clothes. So, Trainiacs, we have to be tremendously efficient over this week and next week. This weekend, Mel is getting married, so she's not working this week. She's not working next week, and we have a ton of renovations going on out there. A lot of backhoe preparation, and frankly, I'll show you the cabin. Look at this. It's just disgraceful. We have everything from out in the yard and everything that's out on the deck in here. So there's a lot going on, and I am editing the videos over the next couple of weeks, so that means I have to make them very easy to edit. Let's get into the recipe for what recipes I eat day to day, and a lot of this are things that you might know, but you might not know exactly how to tweak them to apply to you. So we're going to start by assuming that everyone works out first thing in the morning. The vast majority of triathletes do that. And to get ready for that workout, I recommend having a very fat and protein-based shake. I've talked about this a ton of times. This is the bulletproof coffee that gives you enough energy from that caffeine while not putting you into a glycogen, i.e. carb burning state. So, you know what, I'll link to a video that I've done up here a zillion times for how to put together that shake. And the concept of this is that you are going to be able to train your body to burn fat as fuel, which is going to make you more efficient, less susceptible to bonk, and we're just gonna look a lot better. And for this bulletproof coffee, you want it somewhere around 300 calories. That's gonna give you enough to have a good amount of energy for most workouts, because in workouts, we can replenish about 1/4 of what's burnt. So even the hardest workout where we're burning 1,000 to 1,200 calories, that 300 calories is gonna be plenty, but it's not gonna be so much that you're gonna feel weighted down. So you go and do that workout. Immediately after that workout, we're talking in the 0 to 10 minutes after that workout is done, you want to get some carbs and a little bit of protein in a 4-to-1 carb to protein ratio, about 100 calories into your body. This is going to start replenishing the glycogen stores in your muscles, and the protein is going to start rebuilding the broken down muscles. The protein also needs a fair bit of carbs to actually start that process. So that's why we have the 4-to-1 carb to protein ratio. Then 60 to 90 minutes after you've taken that post-workout drink, this is when you're gonna have your first really big meal of the day. It's gonna be somewhere in the range of, I'd say 350 to 500 calories. There's gonna be lots of carbs, lots of protein, lots of fat. What I end up doing is a big bowl of oatmeal, and I will again link to a video that I've done up here, which is the overnight oats recipe. And it's basically one kind of form of that I use. You can also have a big bowl of cereal with a little bit of added protein. You can have toast and peanut butter with a protein shake. You can have a tortilla wrap with Nutella and peanut butter, a protein shake off to the side, and a banana. Like, you really want to load your body back up with calories because it's just been through a lot, and after that hour to 90 minutes after the workout, it's ready to take on a bunch of calories because the blood has gone back into your stomach, whereas during the workout and right after the workout, it's in your extremities, so it's not ready to process it. But at this point, it is ready. Then before we get into what I have for the major meals of the day, let's talk about snacks. I gravitate towards fruits, vegetables, and plant-based proteins and fats that are very nutrient dense, but not super like empty calories. These are things that you get a lot out of with a very small amount, which in my case means that you can eat a lot of it without slapping on the calories. Now, the first one has a lot of calories, but other than that, these all fall into that. I really like nut butters because it makes you feel full. This is almond butter, sunflower seed butter, cashew butter, peanut butter. But then we get into apples, cherries, dark berries, things like that are good fruits that have a fair bit of antioxidant while not being extremely sugar-based. They aren't going to spike your blood sugar a lot. I also enjoy a lot of hummus because it's a fair bit of protein, a little bit of fat, depending on what you have. If I need to put something with that hummus, I'll use rice or almond crackers. And if I want to splurge a fair bit, Quest bars are my go-to splurge. Quest bars, even though I think they've got the packaging of something that is a lot more indulgent, they actually have some of the least crap out of any bar out there and the lowest amount of sugar. Just a lot of protein, a little bit of fat, and not too many carbs. Now for the major meals, this is where there's a big fork in the road that is going to have to be customized to you. Now let's start with you don't have a workout later in the day, and then we'll get to if you do have a workout later in the day. If you don't have a workout in the day, the main requirements for carbs is basically done. If you are done working out for the day, you really don't need a lot of carbs. So lunch, snack after work, dinner will all be much, much lower in carbs. So this is going to be primarily veggies, things like salads, soups, stir fries, omelets, things that are much more based towards fat and protein than it is carbs. The carbs that you do take in, however, should be things like leafy greens, things that aren't very sugar and starch based. Not a lot of potatoes, not a lot of sweet potatoes, not things like rice or tortilla wraps or tacos, things that are very, very carb dense. We take out of the diet at this point because there's really no need for it, and that's going to allow us to curb our hunger. We're going to feel fuller because we can eat a heck of a lot more of the foods other than those starchy carbs without taking on the calories, and we're going to end up getting slimmer because we're not having all the carbs. We had them and earned them earlier in the day with the workout. Now let's get into the situation where you do have a workout later in the day, like me. I have a workout later in the day. So for starters, lunch is going to be lower carb based. It's going to be all those things that I listed: salads, soups, stir fries, vegetable based, omelets, things like that. Not a ton of carbs. Right before the workout, later in the day, I'll have an oatmeal based bar, just a small little 100-calorie bar, and that's enough to just kind of reignite that little bit of energy that I need from carbs. After the workout, however, it's typically going to be dinner time, and at that point, I will then have a more carb-heavy dinner. So it's going to be things with like potatoes, sweet potatoes, wraps, rices, noodles, and still throw in a little bit of protein and fat. Essentially what I'm doing is I'm mimicking that main meal that we had earlier in the day with the oatmeal that happened an hour to 90 minutes after that main workout. I'm replenishing all those glycogen stores. And then finally, at the very end of the day, if I'm still feeling kind of peckish right before bed, there are two options. Number one, if I am trying to get right down to race weight, or if I'm trying to just lose weight in general, I'll have something that is very taste heavy, basically just to fill my palate. Those are going to be things like pickles and sauerkraut, like I had mentioned. But if I'm not worried about my weight and I want to feel full, or if I've really trained throughout the day like I would on the weekend, and I want to make sure that I don't really go into calorie deprivation, which is important not to do all the time. You can do it occasionally. I will have a couple spoonfuls of peanut butter. So here are the four main principles that I follow every single day. When it comes to carbs, flank your workouts with carbs. Have them before, potentially, but that's negotiable. During, you definitely want that. Certainly after. The rest of the day, you don't really have to have a ton of carbs. During the rest of the day when you're not working out, what you want to do is ramp down the carbs, ramp down the protein slightly, and increase the fat. And as you do that, you're going to feel fuller and fuller throughout the day, and you're going to be giving your body a fair bit of calories that takes a long time to digest, and your body is going to have the entire night when you're sleeping to digest it, instead of giving yourself a whole bunch of carbs right before bed, and all of a sudden you burn through them in 2 hours, and then your body says, all right, well, I've burned through these and I don't need them anymore. What to do with these carbs? I know, I'll turn it into fat and put it in Taren's love handles. Third thing, I eat gluten-free. My dad is diagnosed as a celiac. I'm more genetically predisposed to it. I've had the test. I am slightly allergic to gluten. However, I'm about 15 pounds lighter when I don't eat it, and I recover within a matter of hours instead of being sore for days. Will that work for you? I don't know. And the fourth thing is that I eat primarily vegan meals. Now everyone's gonna just go nuts in the comments, and I know that a lot of you have when you've seen me eat an omelet, because you're like, Taren, aren't you vegan? No, I'm not vegan. I never said I was. I eat primarily vegan meals, and the studies show that somewhere around the 90 to 95% of your total calories coming from whole food plant-based products and not meat products is about as healthy as you can get. It's actually been shown that 100% vegan lifestyle, it has a bigger potential to do it wrong, and with us trainiacs that train a ton of the time, it's quite hard to completely fulfill our nutrients if you are 100% vegan. More power to it if you are 100% vegan and you can do it, and you can do it healthily. I just want to kind of play in that, let's be 90-95% ethically vegan, dietarily vegan, but I also want to make sure that I'm healthy, so I have meat occasionally. So there you go, trainiacs. That is how to put together what I think to be a healthy and sustainable diet that allows you to train really hard while also keeping your weight down. If you aren't yet subscribed, hit the subscribe button below, and if you are subscribed, you are the peanut butter to my jelly. Oh man, I love peanut butter. Oh, peanut butter is just coursing through my veins every day.